All right. Hello there, ladies. Thank you for being on a Sunday. I always appreciate that. Hold on. I got a little confused what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay, so happy Summit Week. Those of you all that are going to Summit, we are going to be hanging out come Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's going to be an awesome time. If you are not going to Summit, there's like a live stream. I know that they do, and I got to watch some of that last year whenever I was at home. So definitely catch like the opening ceremonies. There's usually awesome, fun things going on in the open ceremonies, and as much as you can, basically, because you will be blown away by the amount of training and just energy and excitement that you get from Summit. So if you've never watched any of them, definitely watch them. Tonight, I kind of felt like this call was appropriate going into Summit, going into the rest of the year. So if you have never had someone who you would consider like a success partner, and these girls are going to explain a little bit more about what that means, but I think it is something that, at least through my business, has been something that like I've kind of jumped from person to person, but everybody always had their place in where I was. And so I'm super excited. I know that Lauren and Courtney both have had like their businesses kind of like really, I don't know what you want to call it, like flourish in the past couple of months. And I've just been kind of like watching from the sidelines and watching what they're doing. And so I wanted you guys to share or be able to watch what they're doing and their tips for you guys and all of that stuff. So I'm going to kind of let them go. I do want you guys, I didn't say this, but I do want you guys to talk about like how you met essentially. So if you guys want to, get started and make sure that you share a little bit about like how you guys like formed this like amazingness that you guys have. So I'll kind of let you guys go then.
Absolutely. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, I'm Lauren. Court, I don't know how you guys can see our faces on this, if it's going to be like a bouncing as we talk or the speaker view, but I'm going to jump in really fast and just kind of tell like my perspective of how I first met Courtney, and then she can like come on and tell hers. So the reason why this is such a huge call, like timing wise, is because Courtney and I met as complete strangers in 2016 in New Orleans at Summit. I had no clue. So our teams were all very different at that time. Everything looked very different in how the organizations lay out right now. And my coach and I road tripped to New Orleans knowing absolutely no one. And other than Megan being in like a collab coach group for Summit, we were like, hey, can we sleep on your couch in your Airbnb? And so that my coach, Amber, and I, we were planning to sleep on Megan's couch. And at that point in time, Megan sent the like Airbnb list of like who was going to be staying with us. And something happened. Courtney ended up actually not being in the room, but she was on the list of like who was going to be in the house. And as we were driving to Summit, we were like scoping every name, like Facebook stalking every name of the people, of the strangers who were staying in their house. And Courtney was one of them. And I remember we were like trying to find her on Instagram, and we're like, okay, yeah, like she looks legit. She's cute. Like no psycho stalker killers that we're going to be sleeping on their couches of. And so that was like my first impression of Courtney. And then we actually got to meet that first night as we were going to the bombshell parade, which was just very random. It was like, hey, I don't even know. Like it was very, very random. So that was our first meeting. But Courtney, you can kind of pan off.
That's hilarious. I actually never knew that.
No.
But yeah, that Summit, my husband and I decided to go to together. So we got our own Airbnb in the ghetto of New Orleans. Like they dropped me off and like would have to wait for me to walk into the door because it was kind of creepy. But anyway, my first like real recollection, other than that parade, was the next morning we all go to these workouts at Summit, and Meg and Kat, I think, were in a different workout. And so, and this other coach that was there, Rebecca, was with Meg. And so I only knew Lauren and Amber. And so I kind of like clung to them and was like, I'm kind of like an extroverted introvert. I'm kind of shy until you get to know me. So I'm like, Lauren, go with me to this workout. And then that's kind of for me where it kind of started. And then Lauren and I were talking before this, and we're like, how did our success partnership actually start after Summit? And I think I had reached out to her for a picture from that workout, and it kind of just took off from there. We were reading through our old messages, and it was like, hey, do you have this picture? And then the next message was like, hey, I don't get much service where I'm at school, because Lauren still taught then, but what Success Club number are you at? Like, that was like the next message. And it was like, just from there, we started like every day talking about like just checking in with each other of, hey, you know, how many invites have you sent? How many Success Club how many Success Club points do you have? So we'll get into that kind of like how many times we check in with each other. But first we wanted to talk about what even a success partner is, who they can and should be, and why it doesn't matter if you've ever met them in person. So I'll just talk about what a success partner is. So it's someone that is there to challenge you. It's someone, I've had actually other success partners, no longer working the business, but they were people that I didn't feel challenged by. I wasn't, it was someone that I would make goals with, and then they would kind of flake out after, and myself included, we just weren't a good match for each other. And so finding that person that's going to really challenge you, that's going to kind of reel you back in when you get all of the ideas from all of the national wake-up calls, implement right away. Just that person that is going to be your business partner, truly. And they should not be someone in your downline, your personally sponsored coach, or your upline, vice versa. It should be someone on either on your team, an equivalent like goal or rank, something along the lines of that, something that you're trying to hit together, but it should not be your personally sponsored coach that you're running with, really, or your upline. And then really who they should be is, like I just said, someone that's really going to push you towards that next rank, towards that next goal. If you guys have similar goals, maybe it's not a rank advancement. Maybe it's, I want to hit $1,000 a month. Let's try to do that together and, do the math and see how many Success Club points or how many people we need to help to get to that. So that's definitely who it should be. Someone that's going to really challenge you and get you kind of out of that comfort zone. And then it doesn't matter that you've ever met in person, because like Lauren and I, we did meet in 2016, but even after New Orleans, I wouldn't say we were really hardcore Success Club partners until probably after Indianapolis last year, a year later, was when we really started checking in with each other daily and doing the daily things that we'll talk about later. But Lauren and I also live in different time zones, so we're also working with each other in that sense, and we see each other once or twice a year when we make it to national leadership and in October. No, but we just clicked, and it's just got to be someone that you just want to run with. So I'll let Lauren kind of take it from here.
Yeah. So one thing I think that Courtney and I have always let me just kind of I think for finding someone that is your Success Club partner, I met Courtney in New Orleans, but after New Orleans, I just started following her on Instagram, and she was kind of one of those coaches that I was just kind of always watching what they were doing, and not to steal or not to admire, to admire, but she just always was engaging to me. And I noticed that I was actually going back today and looking through my Instagram of how our conversation started, and honestly, our conversation started the same way we would make connections with a new challenger, except she was already a coach. And so she was someone that one day she messaged me and she was like, hey, I totally love your challenge group name that you're advertising for. I'm stealing that. Like, this was back in Christmas of 2000. I looked, it was like 2017. So it was just little things like that, the same way you would talk to a friend, except she was already a coach who I kind of knew. And so what happened over time was like, I was like, oh, like, I like this girl. Like, I could be friends with her. And I think that's so important because I too have been matched up with a different success partner at one point in time, and we even like had a weird, awkward like Zoom call, like to like test each other out. It was very awkward, and I haven't talked to that girl ever again because it just didn't mesh well. Like, I wasn't following her on Instagram. Like, our stories were alike, like in a very odd way. We were teachers. We were at that point in time, we just lost a grandparent. Like, it was very odd, and so written on paper, it looked like we would have been the perfect success partners, and we just didn't mesh well. And so I think at this point in time, I'm sure all of you watch other people on your team on their Instagrams. Like, if there's someone that you kind of feel like you're already friends with, that might be someone who could be your potential success partner, because I think that's what's been really helpful for Courtney and I is we had already, I don't know, I felt like we already were kind of friends. And so another thing too I wanted to touch on is Courtney and I, our business goals, like I never had, like I'm now full-time. Courtney's not full-time yet. So like, don't feel like you have to have like outcome goals the same. What Courtney and I, it's very odd to, I mean, it's very good, but it's very odd. Courtney and I have always been like within a 2 to 3 week step from each other. Like Courtney hit team, or it was like Courtney hit Success Club 10, what is it, All-Star Legend, whichever one's the 12 months. 2 weeks later, I hit it, or, you know, and then like team leader, team builder, like we kind of always 2-star, like even just a couple, like we were, 2 weeks, 3 weeks apart in 2 stars. So we've kind of just very much our goals and our running has aligned with each other. And I think that is more important versus like those bigger, like Courtney said, like if you and your success partner want to work on making $1,000, like that's a perfect goal. So don't think that you have to be like in the same chapter of life. I have a 7-year-old. Courtney has a 2-month-old, you know, like she was pregnant. Like we aren't in the same stages of life, but our businesses have been in the same steps forward. And I think that's important because what I believe truly that it's ruled out is there's no, Courtney and I don't compare with one another. We're not ever envious of like when Courtney got her 2-star, I was freaking clapping for her. Like I was not thinking, oh, poor me. Like I haven't got mine yet. I was like, hell yeah, girl, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Like I'll be there. And so that has been, and sorry for the language of that. I don't know. But that's been something that I think's been really important in our success partnership is we've always cheered one another on and pushed each other that much more.
Agreed. So we wanted to kind of hit on what we do together versus what we do separately. Yeah. So I would say, okay, so what we do together, I'll start there. Okay, so we run a couple of different pages together. From the start, we really just started as simple check-ins. We were just back and forth, like, hey, like I said from the beginning, what's your success club? What you're looking at? How many invites did you get? Those two correlate normally with each other.
A lot of times on Sunday nights. I think at the beginning, that's when it started. Like Sunday nights, all right, what's your week?
Yeah, it started weekly. For sure at first. And then from there, we just kind of saw that our teams were growing together. We would come up with these ideas. Like currently right now, we have a group of our coaches that are running a little quickly. They have to hit certain requirements in order to be in this group, hitting Success Club themselves and adding at least a coach each month. And we have this page called Squad Runners. And we have both of our teams in there, and they both feed off of each other like Lauren and I do. So they get to see the energy from both of our teams. And I think that's good now because, you know, both of us have about the same amount of girls in there, you know, averages about 5. So there's, you know, 10 plus the 2 of us. and it just makes the group a little bit bigger. There's a little bit more action, and we're posting in that squad runners page every single day something actionable for those runners to do, versus our team pages are more for recognition and those types of team, new coach shout outs and things like that. And other training, but we run that squad runners page together on our teams. We also do a monthly Emerald or new coach call. It's new coach to Emerald at the end. So we do that every single month, and it's all of our new coaches on the call, and the two of us again, obviously. And that's all of our new working coaches. So we decided to do that together because, like last month, I had one new working coach that was on the call, while Lauren had a couple, where it could be, the next month she only has one and I have, a couple, or collectively we have about 5 each time on the call. So it makes it just a little bit more interactive. It makes it more of a group community atmosphere, so that they really get the feel of this community from the start. And Lauren, do you want to hit on?
Yeah, I was going to add, it also really helps, like, honestly, when we have those monthly calls where Courtney and I do it together, to me, and I think Courtney does the same thing, but like, it's kind of, we're like, oh crap, we got to fill that call. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have to get new coaches on that call if we're going to be teaming this up together. So that encourages us to really make sure that we're bringing in new team members to our own team, because on that month, if I would say to Courtney, like, I don't have anybody, then that's a good time of self-reflection of, okay, I didn't recruit anyone. I didn't bring anyone new into my team. So I think that helps me, but then at the same time, it helps our new coaches to see, like, oh, I'm not the only one. Whereas if it was just me hosting a new coach call, and say I recruited 3 coaches that one month and only one coach can make it on the call, that one coach is going to come onto this new coach call and it's just going to be me. So it just brings in a little bit more of that community atmosphere and that group setting where they don't feel as like insecure, like, hold on, what did I just jump into if it's just me and this girl?
Yeah, and I like too that at the beginning of all of our new coach calls, we talk about our bio really quickly, like in 1 minute or less. And like Lauren said, we're both so different that it's nice for Lauren's coaches to see my life as a new mom, and it's nice for my coaches to see the potential in, taking coaching full time, or Lauren's life as a past teacher, or with an 8-year-old, so it's nice for our coaches to see our other lives versus on social media.
Right. One thing I wanted to address, and I think this kind of hits on one of the questions that was asked. So Courtney and I, we only work our success partnership together in the growth of our teams. I saw someone ask if we run challenge groups together. Courtney and I have never collided our challengers together. That has always been an individual thing, because I feel like that's more of a coach responsibility on our own independently. And so all of our collaboration and mentorship is strictly for our teams, like for what you guys are, versus challengers. I thought that was kind of important too, because for me, running my challenge groups is something I mentor my new coaches to do with. And so they're the ones that are helping me run those challenge groups versus Courtney.
Yeah, completely agree with that statement for sure. We can go through the questions real quick on the Spirit and Spunk. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, if we can.
Okay.
I've got them up right here.
Okay.
The first one said, how often do you all do check-ins and what do they entail? So in the beginning, it was weekly pretty much. And then just one day, I can't even remember. I felt like it was in the summer of last year. I'd watched a training. I don't even know with who, but they were like, they had written something like, I'll beat you to this. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to tell Courtney that. So I was like, hey, text me when you send, or like, I'll beat you to 20 invites today or something like that. And so it kind of started something, and we started doing that daily for a while. And we kind of still do it.
We do. I was going to say, it's kind of like, we don't it's not like a set, like we're checking in every single day or we're checking in on Sunday now anymore. Right now it's like, I know she's kind of in a funk, I'll race you to 30 invites.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we see each other now that we've been success partners for so long, we kind of know when the other needs an extra push. But it is still probably 4 times a week that we're texting that exact message, like, hey, text me when you have 20 or 30 invites done. Now we Marco Polo about every 5 minutes, but for actual check-ins, we definitely do that probably at least 4 times a week, I would say.
Yeah. I think a lot too, one thing that I do is I reach out to Courtney a lot when I have questions about my own business. Like if I'm struggling with something, like there for a while, I was really struggling with my new coach training. I felt like people weren't completing it. I felt like there was a disconnect. And so I went straight to Courtney and I was like, hey, what are you doing? And so that's one thing that I feel like we do a good job at, is asking the other person, like, hey, what should I do for this? Like using each other as help and never as like, what are you doing? Oh, well, I'm doing this. You know what I mean? Like I never do it as a rebuttal. It's always like, teach me your ways. and so we do that a lot. Or I'll say to her like, hey, I'm struggling with a picture idea. Like, what can I do for this? Because that's where I get stuck a lot is I'm like, my pictures are not different enough. The little things, but that's who I reach out to. And so I asked Courtney like, hey, what do you think I need to add to my social media? Like what is missing? And so use your success partner as a person to positively, like to critique you in a positive way.
Yeah, and just like Lauren just like briefly said, the little things, those little things can be huge things in your business. Like, hey, can you audit my social media for me real quick? Can you check over my Instagram? I have low traction this week. What's going on? What do you think? Those little things can be huge things in the long run if you're just doing those things with your success partner, for sure.
Right. And taking action on it. Because like for my new coach training, Courtney told me what she was doing and what was working for her. And you bet I did it and I changed it and I made those changes and I implemented them and they made a major growth in my business. So don't just listen and like hear what they're doing, like actually, and I don't mean go change everything, but if you're struggling with something, if you're not hitting Success Club or you're not, having conversations that are ending, like talk to your partner about it and see where you can grow from that. Don't just use it as a place to pull in negatively. Use it as a place of growth. All right. Courtney, can you see the questions?
Yeah. How do you start off a partnership on the right foot and still help each other move your business forward? Go ahead, Lauren.
Well, I was thinking to start off a partnership, I would first like kind of brainstorm on who you think you mesh well with, like who you think might work well, just because, and maybe reach out to that person like, hey, I see you doing this, because you obviously don't want to have someone that's stagnant, that's not showing up. I mean, the reason I reached out to Courtney was because she was showing up every day. So if you're someone who's showing up every day and you're seeing someone else who also is, that might be the type of person you want to reach out to. So I would just simply, like, obviously a partnership's going to start with another Beachbody coach. So in most cases, they already know what a success partner is and they already know what this team idea is. So I would say just like, hey, almost like dating, like ask them out on a date. Like, hey, I kind of like your vibe. Like, do you have a partner that you help push with? Like, what are your goals? Where do you want your business to go? And really just kind of like ask them, but also at the same time, keep in mind and know if they are a person that shows up or not. If there's someone that's only on their Instagram once every month, then that might not be the person that you want to, meet with. So that might be, and then to help them move their business forward, I would say like one thing I really focus on, and Courtney does too, is what are our weekly goals? Like, what do we want to hit by the end of the month? And check in with that person. And if they're not, like, if they're still at like say your goal is Success Club 10 by, by the 10th, then ask them, like, what are we going to do to get us there? Like, have a plan and an action, like a solution for it. Don't just say, this is what I want. And this is what, like, don't say, I hope. I hear a lot of coaches say, I hope I'm going to do this. No, do it. Have a plan, have an action. If I want to hit Success Club 10 by the 10th, then I'm sending 20 invites every single day, and I'm sending those follow-ups every single day. Don't hope for it, do it.
And I would say, I would say just starting at the beginning of your business, of your partnership, just send each other the vital tracker. Send each other, hey, I got mine in today. Let me know when you got yours in. Something so simple of just checking in with each other for the tracker or for your invites or whatever you might be struggling with on the tracker. Maybe make that your check-in with each other, which is typically the invite part. But just say, hey, I got this in. Let me know when you got yours in. That's how you can really start to move your business forward for sure.
Yeah. All right. Next one is, how did you decide what to do together and what to do on your own?
So Lauren, I think you kind of answered this a little bit already. We mostly do most of our team stuff together. And anytime we message each other and say, hey, can we do this together? Or like, for example, so I had told Lauren, hey, I'm going to start a page for my coaches, for those who were showing up, those who are running. I wasn't getting very much traction on my confidence crew page at the time, my team page. And so I said, I'm going to just have a page that I post in like a challenge group every single day, but for my coaches, and they have to hit Success Club to get into it. And she goes, hey, you can totally say no, but can I be in this group? Can we make it a mutual group? And could have said, hey, no, I just want it to be my coaches, but I wanted it to be bigger and more interactive. And I, like I said from the beginning, have 5 or so hitting Success Club, and so does Lauren. So having 10 in a group and being interactive every day was a little bit better to me than just having, a couple that were interacting with the daily posts. So we do those types of things together, and then the challenger side of it, our challenge groups, all of those things are done separately. Do we do anything else alone?
I guess our main T pages are alone. So,
yeah.
Really we're only meshing the runners together. But as for like our own team pages are separate in that sense.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I don't know if there was any other questions, but I wanted to look back over. Did you want to add anything on that list?
No, I think we're good. Let me go back over to this, make sure I hit on everything.
I do have a question I would like for you guys to hit on, because I know as coaches, you guys kind of hit on different kind of life situations, but having similar goals. But I think you guys are also very unique, but also different in who you are as a coach. So could you guys hit on how you all are similar in being a coach, or your drive and that kind of stuff, and then how you guys are different, but your partnership kind of makes you all grow? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And Courtney, do you want to answer this first? Do you want me to?
You go.
Okay, so as for our similarities, I think in the similar sense, we are very cut and dry, have high expectations, and we might both struggle with being emotionally, we're very come on, do the things. And so having that emotional sympathy, I think we are similar in that sense, and maybe maybe that's not the best thing, but Courtney is very Courtney can do one thing at one time and get a task done, where I am very much a squirrel brain and I like shiny things. And so what she was saying before, it was a true, that's a true thing. When there's a team call, or not a team call, a national wake up call, I'm marcoing Courtney and I'm oh my gosh, we need to do this and this and this and this and this and all these things. And Courtney's hold on, like what we're doing is working, like let's not break anything. And so Courtney, her personality she kind of reels us back to like keeps us grounded, whereas my personality, sometimes I'm like, okay, like we can do this. And so like I don't know where I come in the positive of that, but she keeps us grounded a lot, and I know that helps me because I know there for a while when I was growing with my team, I was making a lot of quick changes, and that was sometimes overwhelming people, whereas Courtney helps keep me grounded and like, okay, we're doing one thing at one time. This is like, if it isn't broken, let's not fix it. And so that's been really helpful for me. So Courtney, I'll let you.
Yeah, I think the number one thing that makes us such good partners is that we're both so very much goal driven. And we both love recognition and recognizing our teams. So I think those two things really paired us well together, because we were always wanting to hit either our weekly goal or like our rank advancement goal together. And then, yeah, like Lauren was saying, I mean, I am just in the phase of life where I need to focus on one thing, and, you know, but the positive of that is that Lauren can attend all the training. She can do the national wake-up calls when I might miss them. And she does have frequent calls with her corporate mentor, Mary, who gives her some information that I may not get from my corporate mentor. And those types of things, we can just bounce off each other. And she is coming to me with new ideas a lot, but there's times where I say, hell yes, let's do that. Or what we have going for that is kind of already working. So why not? We don't need to fix that. So that's kind of how we are similar and different, and it works really well together, I think.
And I think just being in tune to that. Like, I don't get offended when Courtney, like, I know, I'm like, okay, yeah, shiny thing. Like, I think just being in tune to that, like, it doesn't ever make me mad or upset if she's like, no, like, and I don't ever get, like, I don't know. I sometimes it's good. It's good. I'll just leave it at that.
I love that. I do want to like clarify, because I want you guys to also realize that like your success partner doesn't have to be on your team. It doesn't have to be on Spirit and Spunk. Like Lauren is like an adopted child of ours, an adopted coach sister, essentially. So like we were on a team, like here's a big team, and I was over here on this team and she was over here on this team, but that team kind of like fell apart. And so that's how we met. And, you know, she slept on our couch at Summit, which like, I still like breaks my heart that you all slept on the couch, but whatever. That's Summit for you.
That is Summit, yes.
And so I've been partnered up with girls before just through like the Central region page, you know? And so like, think about like, it doesn't have to, like, if you're like, man, there's no one really on Spirit and Spunk that I'm kind of like vibing with, like, go search out, like go find people. Like there's tons of coaches.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one thing too, to kind of bounce off what Megan said, where I don't have that much of an upline that exists anymore. What I do, like I'm very much a team and community person. So when I hit Diamond, that was when my corporate mentor like opened this whole new world and community. And so I can, like Courtney, I don't know if Paige and them are here, but at the New Leader Conference, I knew so many women there. And I remember Courtney was like, how do you know so many people? I'm like, it's from this East region page. And so you guys all have access to other coaches, and if you're going to Summit, you're about to pour into a pool of so many coaches. Make friends. Courtney is the one I run with, but I have so many friends in this community that bounce questions off me, or that I learn from, or that and then I'll bring stuff back to Courtney. And so don't be afraid to dive into this community. Yes, it's important. We're growing our network to build our businesses, but we have an amazing team with Team Beachbody. So sorry, my dog is about to start barking.
I love that. And I don't know about you guys, but like I will not miss, like it has to be like the end of the world for me to miss summit or a chance to go to leadership or the success club trip or even a super Saturday or those types of things, because those are where I get to meet my friends. Like those are where I get to like hang out with people who are like weirdos like me and love this coaching thing. And like that, like I would never miss that. So that's why like it doesn't make sense to me that people don't go to those events, because I'm like, that's where you get to like go hang out with your people. Like those are our people, you know, like, and obviously we all have our friend groups outside of coaching, but it's like, that's still like, it's just, I don't know. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox there. I think I'm just getting excited because summit's coming up. But anyways, okay. Do you guys have any questions for these ladies about their partnership? Taylor, you mentioned something about, were you gonna like, I know a good place to ask if not in Spirit and Spunk is like, the Dynasty Transformed Together. I don't know how many coaches are in there, but that team is like thousands and thousands and thousands of coaches. Like you're going to find someone who is like you in that page for sure.
And I know we kind of already touched on this, but be okay with it maybe not working out with the first one or two people that you are blind dating, essentially. Like it might not work out. So just be aware of that.
Right. The same as a normal relationship. You know what I mean? Like just because one date goes bad doesn't mean you're going to stop dating. Don't give up on your Team Beachbody dates either.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up if nobody has any questions. I think so.
I'm ready. Oh, sorry. Creepy.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys have a great week. I'm going to post this recording, and then if you are looking for a success partner, we'll have a little like dating profile you can comment and maybe check out other people and that type of thing. And be okay with being like, I don't know if we have the same goals, because if you know, like, I think it was Lauren, whoever said like, ask them like, I like your goal, like I like your vibe, what are your goals, like that type of thing. Like if someone's does not match with you, like be okay with being like, I don't know if this is a great partnership, this is where I want to go. I think we have to like be okay with like, just, I mean, it's your time and your energy. So you don't want to be wasting your time and energy on someone who's not a good partnership. So with that, let's go ahead and go. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. See y'all.